Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Second Street Marvel. Welcome. It might be just me and you right now, which is totally fine. Everybody, welcome to the, inaugural first episode of Morning Movie Brews. This is a very casual, laid back, hopefully not epic disaster of a show. And we're just here to wake up with each other and maybe have some coffee and talk about the movie news from the night before, from stuff this morning. And we got some big news that we're going to talk about. At least the top story will be talking about Trolls World Tour and how AMC has decided, because of Universal's response to that film, they are now banning all Universal films from their theaters, which is it's crazy. It's not the response that they should have had, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna give you my opinions, and I want your opinion. So if you're here in the chat, definitely go ahead and throw in your opinions, and we'll get to them. Second Street says he is busy working out, but he had his coffee already. I'm sure you did. You were up very early this morning. Ryan, Nerdy Blur TV is here. Good morning. Good morning. What was the response? This is crazy news to me. Well, let's just jump into it then. Let's go ahead. So basically, here's what happened. As we know, with everything going on with, and we'll call it the CV, because YouTube doesn't like when you use the actual word, we'll say CV. Universal put out Trolls World Tour on home direct video. They're calling it PVOD, which I'm assuming, I haven't gotten a real explanation what the P stands for, but I'm assuming that means pay per view on demand. I'm assuming. So they put Trolls World Tour out on demand, and depending on who you talk to and which YouTubers have their own opinions on success or not, Universal is claiming that Trolls World Tour is a success. So this was news that came out yesterday morning. Okay, this all was just a big storm that happened basically in one day. So this goes ahead and says they racked up nearly an estimated $95 million in rental, so close to $100 million in rental fees in the first 19 days. Which, generally you would say, well, $100 million for an animated film is not that great. But I would argue that this is actually a stellar win for Universal and for this movie in particular. Now, like it says, Universal is banking on an estimated $77 million in revenues before marketing expenses, which and here's why I think this is great for them. Because the one thing that nobody is talking about yet, and Trinity, I guess you can steal this for your discussion on this later, for sure. LB, what up? What up? Good morning, sir. How are you today? Stormbreaker, you are here as well. Good morning. Hope you're having a good morning. Just sitting here talking trolls. So a lot of people don't remember this because this is a few months back. So I'm going to remind everybody why Universal deems this a success and why I agree with Universal on this. So this is the long range tracking for Trolls World Tour that was put out by Box Office Pro back in February. And if you're not following Box Office Pro for your long range tracking, I definitely would suggest it if you are into box office numbers. I'm not saying that they're 100% accurate, but they do a really good job of pinpointing as the weeks go on. Ryan, have fun at work. Peace out. I'll talk to you soon. Ryan's going to be on the night show very soon, as will LB and Trinity. But let's get back to Trolls. So look down here. Trolls World Tour. Their opening weekend projected 17 million to 27 million with their guess, right? This is their own personal forecast. 23 million. Now, if you remember the news that came out when Trolls dropped for that weekend, they said that they estimated around 30 million total for opening weekend, which at the time they said it was a huge success. And I, again, agreed with them at the time. When you have a in-theater projection of 23 and then they, pivot and throw it at PVOD and still make that amount, that's a success. This is a sequel that, look, I really enjoyed the first one. My whole family really enjoys the first one. The first one has heart, it has great songs. Animation was stellar. The voice cast was great. It's a very underrated animated film. The second one I didn't enjoy so much. It didn't have the heart. The songs weren't as well chosen. They didn't integrate the songs as well as they did in the first one. So, and you know what? There wasn't a whole lot of chatter for this movie in the first place. So this projection was right on. So the fact that they still got that amount in the first weekend in PVOD is a huge win for Universal. It was 100% the right choice for them to do that. Now, let's take a look at what they projected the total domestic range was. 60 to 90 million with their projection of 81. Let's go back. 95 million. So they already, in 3 weeks, which is not even an entire theatrical run, they already hit what was projected to be their domestic intake. So, of course, Universal is singing the praises of this as a success, because it is a success. You're probably gonna watch some YouTubers later today, and they're going to tell you that this is not because of costs. It's spin. It really is. This is for Universal. This is a huge success. Now, whether they should be doing this with every title, that's definitely why we're here to discuss this. But for this decision, for Trolls World Tour, this was the right decision. All right, so continuing the timeline. So Universal comes out and says, this is great. We made $100 million in 3 weeks. It's a huge success, and the theater owners were not happy. This is what the quote from the National Association of Theater Owners, NATO, not the World NATO, but the Theater NATO. This performance is indicative of hundreds of millions of people isolated in their homes seeking entertainment, not a shift in consumer movie viewing preferences. It is not surprising that people under shelter-in-home ordinances for weeks on end with increasingly limited entertainment options would take advantage of the movie's direct-to-VOD move to keep children entertained even at a premium price. They also said Universal heavily marketed the title as a theatrical release in theaters and elsewhere 4 weeks on end. It is likely to recur in normal times, and these costs haven't been disclosed, etc., etc. Look, as of right now, just from this timeline, and there's more to go through, they're angry, they're pissed, because it's sort of, they're crying because they saw that it was a success, and they're worried. They're 100% worried, because here's a movie that made its projections. It made, like, you're not going to hear a lot of that today. They made their long range projections with this film, so they hit their numbers. Sorry about that. If you hear that, that's my son giggling in the background. He's very excited that, I'm talking Trolls World Tour. So AMC responds harshly, and they say they are now refusing to play. Hey, bud. They're refusing to play AMC Universal films. So here, let's get into this here. So this was the quote from Universal. The results for Trolls World Tours have exceeded our expectations and demonstrated the viability of PVOD, Shell told the Wall Street Journal. As soon as theaters reopen, we expect to release movies in both formats. I mean, what are you going to do? That's the right move for Universal, especially in this day and age. Look, I'm sorry. There's a lot of people out there who don't like the movie going experience. What the theater owners are missing is that there's also a lot of people who bought this movie at home because it was at home, not because of the situation that we're in, because they don't like going to the movie theater. And if that's the situation, there's a whole untapped group of people and moviegoers and fans of films who you're going to grab as income because they just don't like going to the movies. So it's not just because we're all home. It's because some people just don't like going to the movies. Now, would I prefer seeing a movie on a big screen over anything else? Of course. It's a great experience, but that's not everybody. So AMC responded, and do we have, I don't really want to read this whole thing. Adam Aaron's letter. By the way, I don't know how many of you in here are basketball fans or know who Adam Aaron is. LB, I think you probably know who Adam Aaron is if you're still here. But Adam Aaron used to be the GM of the Sixers. And Adam Aaron is hands down responsible for that team tanking. And if you know basketball and you've ever heard the phrase trust the process, that is direct response to the GM who came in, Sam Hinkie, who came in after Adam Aaron left the Sixers for AMC because he had destroyed that team so much, they sort of had to rebuild everything. So that whole trust the process, if you ever heard that in the sports world, that's a direct response to Adam Aaron tanking the Sixers. Tasty. I got a nice dark brew. All right. So Adam Aaron, I'm worried that he is going to tank AMC too, the way he tanked the Sixers. All right, let me get into it a little bit more here. He talks about how theaters is. I do have to read this one part. I read this last night, and this really kind of annoyed me in the phrasing. Now, maybe he didn't mean it this way, but I feel like he kind of did. And here's what it says. For 100 years, AMC has served as a strategically critical and highly profitable distribution platform for movie makers, which is true. And for all that time, the exclusivity of the theatrical release has been fundamental. So he's talking about theater movie, the compromise that studios put movies into theaters for X amount of weeks so that that's the only place you can get them. Now here's the line that gets me. When a movie is only in theaters, in quotes, consumers perceive it to be a higher quality entertainment. They perceive it to be a higher quality entertainment. He doesn't say that theaters give the best and higher quality entertainment. He truly believes that it's a perception. It's not that you can't have a fun theater experience at home. It's that there's a perception that the theater is the highest quality. That's taking away from the fact that TVs are getting bigger, better, and cheaper. That's taking away from the fact that a bucket of popcorn costs $10 and a soda costs, I don't know, how much does soda cost? $6, $7. God help you if you want a icy like I usually get. That'll set you back $8 to $10. And that's for one person. Now, go see a movie like Trolls World Tour. Okay, so here's my I'll give you my own personal experience with Trolls World Tour. $4.50 refillable cup. I don't think my AMC has that, and if they do, maybe I should look into that. But I don't think I can do the icy with the refillable cup. At my local theater, I pay more for drinks and food than my actual ticket. That's what I'm talking about. And that's part of the problem. Now, I get it. I get that that's how they make their money. So I can't ultimately completely at fault blame them, but that's the reality of it. Okay, Cinemark. Yeah. We have a Cinemark around here. I don't usually go to Cinemark just because I have AMCs that are, I literally have 3 AMCs that are closer in proximity to my house than any other theater. I was on stream last night talking about if I want a snack, I just go to the store before and sneak them in. That's super easy to do in the wintertime for sure. I've definitely done that. It's tough though. Like at my theater, they got snipers out. They're staring you down. So like, do you guys get what I'm talking about? How this line, customers perceive it to be quality entertainment. That's smoke and mirrors, man. That's people who, at least Adam Aaron, who doesn't believe that this is necessarily higher quality entertainment. These are the people, he sees the writing on the wall, but here's a letter saying, we got to make sure that they think this is the way to go. And look, I love going to the movie theater. So you're not going to convince me that it's not necessarily higher quality entertainment, because look, as much as I have a great setup here, there is nothing like the giant screen and the giant sound. That's just the way it is. But I don't know, that wording really put me off. So they were not happy, obviously. And going forward, AMC will not license any Universal movies at any of our 1,000 theaters globally on these terms. It assumes that we meekly accept a reshaped view of how studios and exhibitors should interact, with zero concern on Universal's part as to how it affects us. Look, I get that part, I do, but they have to worry about their business. And when the business model of putting it into theaters and not making as much of a return, and then you put it out on PVOD, you hit the numbers that are projected, and we went over those. We literally showed that these were the numbers. They hit this for the opening weekend. They hit this for their entire domestic run in 3 weeks on PVOD. And as set here, PVOD gets 80%. Studios get 80% of that money, as opposed to between 40 to 65% with theaters. It's a no-brainer. So that's where we're at. And then Universal responded. And I think it's important to read this. It's short. Universal's response to AMC's letter. Our goal in releasing Trolls World Tour on PVOD was to deliver entertainment to people who are sheltering at home while movie theaters and other forms of outside entertainment are unavailable. Based on the enthusiastic response to the film, 100% true. We believe we made the right choice, the right move. In fact, given the choice of not releasing Trolls World Tour, which would not only have prevented consumers from experiencing the movie, but also negatively impact our partners and employees, also true, the decision was clear, 100%. Our desire has always been efficiently deliver. Sorry, can't read. I need to finish this. My wake up juice. Efficiently deliver entertainment to as wide an audience as possible. We believe in the theatrical experience and have made no statement to the contrary. As we stated earlier, going forward, we expect to release future films directly to theaters as well as on PVOD when that distribution outlet makes sense. We look forward to having additional private conversations with our exhibition partners, but are disappointed by the seemingly coordinated effort or attempt from AMC and NATO to confuse our position and our actions. So basically what they're saying is we had no intentions of literally just putting all of our movies to home VOD. Like, it makes 100%. See, here's the problem. It's not the big movies that studios and theaters are concerned about. It's not the big movies. I know everyone is now going to be up in arms about Jurassic World, Fast 9, Bond. Where's Bond? Warner's? No, Bond's Universal, right? All those movies, like that's not what they're talking about. What the theaters are upset about are these little movies. The little movies that people are going to come in and they're going to pay, all these, like kids movies in general. Kids movies are big. Sometimes they make a lot of money, sometimes they don't. I mean, there's a whole slew of, I'm not going to, but I could literally go through a whole slew of animated movies that make okay money between around $400 or $500 million that do okay for the studios, but do a lot better for the theaters. Okay. These big giant blockbusters like Jurassic World and Fast 9 do good for both. Okay, the giant tentpole films do very well for both theaters and studios. These smaller films do good for the theaters. They don't do well for studios. So in Universal's head, we'll take those smaller films that don't necessarily do well for both parties and just put it out on PVOD, and the films that do well for both parties, like Jurassic World, like Fast 9, we will still put in theaters. So to Universal, that's a fair deal. Now, I don't know the conversations they had. Maybe they should have been more upfront. Maybe they were. Maybe they could have been and still would have done what they did anyway. But this reaction by AMC is childish, I think. I do. I think it's childish. I think that they're trying to... It's funny that AMC is trying to strong arm a studio when they are on the verge of bankruptcy. It's a bold move. I mean, there's reports that you may not last. And instead of trying to play nice as well as possible, you're now pushing people away. I don't know. Not necessarily the right thing that I think. Let's see. Let's jump into the chat here. Santa says AMC will change their tune when the next Universal blockbuster is released. Cinemark, Marcus, and smaller chains will be sold out. And that's the thing, right? You're going to go to an AMC theater. Like, look, the best theater around my area is AMC. I really don't like going to another theater because the nicest one here is AMC. So I'm going to be pissed if I can't go see these big blockbuster films at an AMC and that I'd have to go elsewhere. Is it the end of the world? No, but as a consumer, look, as a general consumer, somebody who doesn't understand what all this news that's happening, all they know is that in, months time, there's a movie they want to see, and then they want to go see AMC, just go see it at their AMC. Who do you think they're going to be pissed at? They're not going to be pissed at Universal. They're going to be pissed at AMC because they want to go to their theater. So in no way is anyone going to be looked at as bad as AMC in this whole situation. So that's why I don't understand. Let's see. Whoa, Marvel Maniac says we have cinemas here too that serve hot meals throughout the movie. Like, yeah. Oh, I just got word from my producer that out in middle PA. We got, not middle PA, but there's a lot of those theaters around here. I gotta try them out. Are we talking like a turkey dinner with some mashed potatoes and gravy, and like what kind of hot meals we talking about? I'm very interested. Star Wars Center continues. He says the industry is setting up for the smaller titles to release on studio streaming services. Wait until Disney starts releasing their smaller films to D+. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, and that's what AMC is scared about. It's not the big movies, because they will do fine with the big movies. It's the smaller movies that benefit the theaters more. And that's what they're worried about. They're worried about losing those. Because you ever notice that if you go, most of us here, we watch movies, probably more than the average moviegoer. That's what we're into. We're into movies, so we watch more. You ever go online, you buy your tickets, and it's a movie that you really want to see, and it's like barely sold out, and you're like, well, why do these theaters still have it open? Well, because they're still going to get you to come in and buy your concessions. They don't care. They serve alcohol too. But Jay says we have a theater that sells beer. It's pretty great. I need one of those, because there is definitely some movies I've seen in my lifetime that would have been better with a beer. Although I do tend to go to the movies Sunday mornings, so it would have to be like a wake and drink sort of situation. Stories by Irish Gaming. Oh, new channel by Stories by Irish. Hey, if you're into I saw you're gonna be doing like Elder Scrolls and stuff like that, right? Right, Irish? Congrats on the new channel. Everyone go give Stories by Irish Gaming a look. She's gonna be gaming. I like it. So yeah, so this is our headline story of the day. That's my opinion. I'm on a Universal side today. I already saw some YouTube shows up today that say that this is spin what Universal's doing. I don't know that I agree with that. I think Universal made the right decision. I think, look at these titles: F9, Minions, Rise of Gru, Jurassic World. If for some reason Universal stands their ground, which they should, and let's say they put Minions Rise of Gru on PVOD, it's gonna crush. It's gonna crush way more than Trolls did, because not a whole lot of people were into the first one as much as I like to sing its praises, no pun intended. The Minions franchise, the Despicable Me franchise, whether you enjoyed the last Minions or not, I happen to like it. I know I might be in the minority on that one, but I did like it. So, and it made a lot of money. A lot of people really liked it, or at least a lot of people went and saw it. They're going to see this next one. It would be a huge loss for AMC if they didn't get Minions Rise of Gru. All right, so that's it for this topic. Probably only gonna go for about another 10 minutes today. I kind of wanted to keep this one short just to kind of test it out, see how you guys are liking it. I'm not, still a giant work in progress, but I figured, I always wanted to do a morning show, just hang out and talk with the people about some movie news. And I always wanted to do it around the 9 o'clock time. And Josh over at the Den of Nerds used to go at 9, and I never wanted to overlap with that. Josh moved up to 10. maybe it's a month ago, 2 months ago, for sure. And so I was like, oh, well, let me see if Josh stays with this time, let him get settled, see if that works for him. And it seems to be the time period that he's settled in. So because he settled in at 10, try to sneak in at 9, and sort of like a lead into Josh. Just because, yeah, Irish, I agree with you. I like morning shows too. Look, I love doing my night show. I do. Absolutely. But when it comes to just relax, like this is clearly a more relaxing atmosphere than the night show, where that's more produced, and this is more of a sit back and chill and talk movies. So I think that's where we'll cut it for today. Unless here's the other stuff I was going to talk about. Maybe I'll do this real quick because I do want to talk about this before it gets too, who cares. So I know I'll do this one quick because I know a lot of people may not care about the Oscars, which I don't get. I don't get the hate for the Oscars. Look, I get if you don't want to watch it. I get if you think it's stupid. I do. But it's not that big of a deal. It's just people handing out awards. That's all it is. Not that big of a deal. They're combining sound mixing and sound editing, which is a great idea. And before anyone goes off the rails saying that, oh, I can't believe they're getting rid of, the Academy didn't do it. It was the soundboard suggested doing this, which I think is great. Mostly because most people don't know the difference between sound mixing, sound editing. Again, people who watch movies pretty much know. But for the everyday person, we don't need both awards in the thing. In the original score, it must comprise of a minimum of 60% of original music. Additionally, for sequels and franchise skills, a score must have a minimum of 80% new music. That's huge. 80% new music. It's a good thing Williams got out while the going was good, huh? I know he produces a lot of new music. I'm being a little facetious. But I'm very curious because, a lot of sequels have themes and they're built in early on. So I'm very curious to see how that turns out. So yeah, and then there's stuff about screeners and stuff. Golden Globes also did a couple eligibility rules. They changed some stuff up. Mostly that they want people to instead of considering a movie that was released in theaters or made available on pay-per-view cable or pay-per-view digital delivery in the greater Los Angeles area for a minimum of 7 days, will now consider the titles that had a theatrical release planned to begin in Los Angeles starting March 15th with no cutoff date. So, couple rules there. No big deal. We got a new film popping in, Now You See Me 3. How does everyone feel about the first Now You See Me movies? I really like the first one. I thought the first one was fun. It had some nice twists in there, some good acting. Second one I thought lacked a little. So I wasn't like too huge on the second one, but enough that I would have been okay with the third. But what I really like here is that they hired Eric Warren Singer, Oscar nominee for his work on American Hustle, to write the heist thriller. So it's been long enough where you can start basically, sort of a soft reboot. I mean, you can, there's nothing to like reboot. LB says he hasn't seen any of them. I would say at least watch the first one. You could totally skip the second one. And I doubt that they're probably going to reference the second one too much. Yeah, Happy Dinosaur says, I thought the first one was good, but I had no interest in a sequel. Yeah, you didn't miss much. But the first one was fun. I would definitely recommend the first one. It's not gonna blow your mind or anything, but it was fun. It had some nice twists. Morgan Freeman was great in it. Great cast. I would definitely recommend it. If for nothing else, if you got nothing else to watch and you found it on a streaming service, give it a go. Now this one might get a lot of horror fans jumping. Now, some people might make this their top story. Full disclosure, I am not the biggest horror guy, so I probably am not going to watch this, but I know people enjoy horror, so I'm throwing it out there for people. Hellraiser series development at HBO. I'm curious how everyone feels about this. Hellraiser, one of classic horror villains. In fact, in a couple weeks, we are doing on the night show, we are doing a debate 8 of classic horror villains, and Hellraiser will be one of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how people feel about him. But I'm curious, what do you guys think about a reboot? Or see, this will not be a reboot, but rather an elevated continuation and expansion. So, hey, off the bat, I like that. I know nothing about this because, again, I never saw Hellraiser. I don't watch horror movies, but just the fact that they say it's not a reboot, but a continuation, that I am happy about that for you guys, for the fans of Hellraiser and horror. I am happy for you because that's the way it should go. It should definitely be continue the story. You don't need to reboot it, especially if it's something it's loved. And look, if they did reboot it, what do I care? I don't care. It spans 10 films in 35 years. That's insane. It's great. It's good stuff. So yeah, and it's HBO. So at least at the very minimum, it's not going to completely suck. We'll see if they can stick the landing at the end. Because, man, I love HBO shows. I really do. But is it just me, or do HBO shows in general just have some of the worst finales? And look, I know we can jump Game of Thrones, but like I'm thinking back, like I'm old. Okay, so I'm older. I'm not older. So I was in my early 20s when Sopranos was around. I remember that ending. And man, I'll say this, Sopranos is lucky the internet wasn't what it is when that show ended. You think Game of Thrones was a crazy uproar online? Man, Sopranos would have broke the internet. The Wire and True Blood was really good. I never saw True Blood, so I can't, but so I'll take your word on that one. But yes, The Wire was good. But you know what got me thinking about that too? Because I just recently finished watching Silicon Valley. I love that show. I totally spaced out on watching the final season. Finally got to it. I enjoyed the season. I thought the last season was very fun. Did it compare to the first couple seasons? No. But I thought for a final season, it was good. And I really disliked the finale. I really disliked it. That was one that I didn't like. Star Wars. True, Sopranos ending would have made YouTubers tons of money. Man, it would have 100%. That would have been crazy. Yeah, so that's all I got for us today. That's what I got for this morning. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. We will continue to do this in the mornings to just sort of get together, get our feet wet in our movie news for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and I didn't look like a complete idiot. So we'll see. Do me a favor. In the comments below, definitely be harsh. I don't care. Be harsh because I would like this to get better. I really would. I'm going to be doing this morning show as long as this. I'm working from home, which based on a meeting I had yesterday, Might be a while. So we'll see how long this goes. But I am definitely, that was fun. This was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you everybody who came in and watched, and gave in some comments for sure. Let me see. I'll shout out everyone who's left here, who has stayed around. So we got Happy Dinosaur, Jay, Marvel Maniac, Star Wars Sander, LB, UCU, Trinity, Second Street Marvel, Stormbreaker, Irish was here earlier. Thank you all for hanging out. This has been fun. So, hey, check out the news. Come back tonight on the channel. I got a plug before everyone bounces out of here. Tonight on the channel, we're doing another Debate 8. We are doing treasure hunter movies. Oh, here's what I should do. Hold on. Let me do this real quick. I'll show you guys a quick preview of tonight. Graphics, thumbnails. Where's my treasure hunter? There we go. There we go. That's tonight. Treasure hunter films. We got a ton of them. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some Indiana Jones in there. We got National Treasure. We got The Mummy. We got some Pirates movies in there. It is going to be a fun time. So come back tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing Debate 8 where you guys vote live. I know a lot of you guys know that because you come and watch the show. But if you're new here, come back to the channel tonight. We're going to be doing we're going to be debating. You guys are going to be voting live to check in. So that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you later tonight or tomorrow morning with more news. Talk to you later.